I believe in looking the part, looking like where you want to be, where you want to go. Do not say, well, when I get there, I'm going to do this. Already have that mindset that this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be. And that's why I say it's really about how you motivated internally. It's really about how far you want to go. You can go very far, but it's all internal. Mm-hmm. How far am I willing to go? What am I willing to do? Am I going to be too shy to do this? Yeah. Am I going to be too scared? Am I going to put this off? What are you doing? You will be successful if you make those moves. I would say it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. It's networking. It's getting to know the right people. It's true. And to be fair, if I go over to Africa, the average person, are they going to be able to tell me, how can I make it? How can I thrive here? Can they give me all the channels to thrive? They can tell me how to survive, or they can tell me how to survive and what I need to do, and then, how to make some fufu and how to, put on my little moo for my.
I've had a lot of Americans say Africans think they're better than Americans.
That's what it comes across.
Yeah, it
does. It comes across like, and I think like because they separate themselves from us, and I think that they do it. And this is just my opinion. I think that they do it like a girl said, because it's tribal. Like when you go to Africa, mm-hmm. Most of the people are, Black people. Yeah. So you're not separating, where we in America, there is different races. Mm-hmm. And so we got to stick together, in these areas. So when we see a Black person, we think, okay, we stick together. We see another person, where y'all think like, no, y'all, y'all feel like you ain't from, you're or whatever. Right. So it's like we see the connection, but Africans don't necessarily see that connection as much.
And I wanted to reiterate that, like what she said, it's mostly a cultural thing. They're not looking at us, they haven't had the experience that we have. Mm-hmm. So, whatever they're seeing on the media or how African Americans mm-hmm. behave, mm-hmm. that's what they come in with the mindset. It's that's like, you must be lazy, or you must be wretched or ghetto. You're this way. Mm-hmm. So they're coming with that same mindset. They're not right. coming with the mindset because they're coming as a different culture. They don't see a connection, based on skin color, exactly. because their culture is different. There's so many Africans, there's so many different tribes or different religions are different, but they're all the same color. So they come and they look at us as they're not looking at us and making a connection like that with us. That's what I've experienced.
I mean, I'd say we'd love to make the connection, like for sure. For me, I want to make the connection. But the problem comes in between. I'd say I'd expect you to teach more about your country. But at the same time, I'm finding you don't know more about your country yourself. So I have to dig more out.
When you say you don't feel like we know about our country.
No, I'm not saying culture-wise. Like, let's say, okay, so for sure, we're coming over here mm-hmm. to live the American dream. That's what everybody call it. The reason we're coming down here is for jobs and all that. Okay. So we get down here, we're trying to earn more and all that. So if we get down here and we're starting earn the same as you earning, so we're trying to find out, do you know other jobs that can pay more than this? Do you know another place? Do you know something better than I can do other than this? Teach me. Show me the ways. You've been here your entire life. Show me. So it's not like we see ourselves better. Mm-hmm. We just want to challenge ourselves to do better.
And this is what I would say about that, because there's so many systematic things that have been put in place to hinder African Americans. Mm-hmm. There's so many stereotypes. So we lived in a hostile culture amongst ourselves, mm-hmm. saying that, you're not good enough. You're not, you can't achieve these things.
Mm-hmm.
You have all these things put into place of where you should live, who you can marry. Those things have been our struggle and still is a part of our struggle. So a lot of times, a lot of things have happened to halt us, to basically stop us in our tracks from progressing.
Yeah.
So that is our struggle. We understand that as African Americans, we understand that struggle. It's not that we're not good enough or articulate enough or we can't achieve those things. But a lot of times there's been things that have been systematically in place to hold us down, to say, hey, no, you're not going to progress amongst of what you've already have achieved.
Yeah.
So then when some Africans come over and they see, they think, well, why haven't you achieved? Why haven't you've done these things?
Until they fall in the same pit again.
Right. And they don't see all of the things that our ancestors have had to deal with that has been basically that we've inherited.
Yeah.
We've inherited those things.
And that's true. And to be fair, if I go over to Africa, the average person, are they going to be able to tell me, how can I make it? How can I thrive here? Can they give me all the channels to thrive? They could tell me how to survive, or they could tell me how to survive and what I need to do and how to make some fufu and how to, what I'm saying, put on my little moo for my, but are they going to really tell me how to, or are they going to really know how to, most people just, even if you have, we don't have all the answers to thrive, and it's not meant for us, because if every single person was successful, every single person, like I always say, if everybody is rich, nobody is rich.
True.
If everybody's so really it is a system, and you have to just learn I think when it comes to surviving, it's your own internal motivation, your own internal determination. So nobody can really give you the answers, because it's really how much you decide to put into it to survive. How much determination do you have? How much are you willing to study? How much are you willing to, and I think having the confidence to go in places, do different things. So it's not just cut and dry, because any country I go to, the average person, they're average for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Nobody can just tell you, oh, well, yeah, here's the answer, and you can, hit these levels and things of that nature. This system, when you think about taxes and everything, it's meant to keep you at a certain level.
True.
It's meant to keep you working. It's meant to keep you, it's not meant to just get rich and then figure, everything. It's meant to, the more you making, the more taxes I'm taking out. You get a gift, we take 30% off the top, so it's not meant for everybody to just come and break, the ceiling. It's just not meant for that,
So if you had to speak to somebody who hasn't been here already, if they had to travel, what's the one thing you would tell them to be ready for when they get down here for workspaces, work environments and all that?
I would say that, the more that you're enmeshed in the culture, and just being honest, the more you're meshed in the culture, the more you're able to assimilate, within that culture, the better chances you have. If I don't like to sound like that, but I honestly believe that if you're able to assimilate more, then you're able to be more successful learning the ins and outs, learning dress codes and things of that, just culturally. That's what I've experienced myself as.
So they should come with less expectations. They should come with less expectations and be ready to learn.
Yeah, like she's saying, and I think that's corporate, when we're thinking of corporate world. Yeah. So what I would say is culture capital. It's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. It's networking, it's getting to know the right people, getting next to people. What do you want to do? What do you want to get with those people? Get with people you already see doing those things. Get with people that's already next to, You know what I'm saying? Go to places that's going to expose you to more people. It's definitely, I would say, we live in a world of, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yeah. And even when you think of top business people who make a lot of money, they don't know it all. What they do is they hire the people who know it all. They hire these people in this area. They hire these people in this area. They hire the best of the best. So you got to get with people that already know the game. If you see this person is good at this, and get, just like even when you see online this relationship advice for people who don't have a relationship.
People are seeing,
people are telling you instructions on what to do, and they don't have have any of the relationship situations or expertise, but you have to get with people who actually is doing the thing and is being successful at it, whether that's selling things, and I would say read books on people who is actually doing the thing. Get to the channels, listen to channels that are doing the things and that are successful at it. Get a mentor, because there's only so much information you can get online. I mean, you can get a lot of information online, but there's only so much secrets that people are going to expose to you online. So get with a mentor that is actually doing the thing that you want to do or something similar, and then get with them and start doing those things. And then, like she said, dress the part, look the part, already be like already dress the part, already look the part. I believe in looking the part, looking like where you want to be, where you want to go. Do not say, well, when I get there, I'm going to do this. Already have that mindset that this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to be. And that's why I say it's really about how you motivate it internally. It's really about how far you want to go. You can go very far, but it's all internal. How far am I willing to go? What am I willing to do? Am I going to be too shy to do this? Am I going to be too scared? Am I going to put this off? What are you doing? You will be successful if you make those moves. Most people, the average person, just don't want to make those moves. It's too much. It's too daunting. I mean, you just don't, but again, my main advice is just pretty much get in spaces that you see people doing this and thriving in those places.
You've spoken about, okay, so given what you say, do you think the American dream is achievable for everyone?
I think it is. I think, it is achievable. I think that there's a lot of obstacles. I think there's a lot of things that can hold you back. I think that there's a lot of things, but I truly, if you are really determined, then I truly believe that you can be successful if you continue to try, you continue to do those things. And like I said, it's how far you want to go. Even like she said about changing some things about yourself. And people think about, well, I don't want to change that. I don't want to change who I am. But think of changing like when you change your body. You're not changing a body trying to be somebody else. When you're going to exercise and working up and you want that body composition that and doing all of that, you are making yourself better. You are honing in on those things. You're trying to make yourself better. So if you have to do things to make yourself better, it's not changing or becoming, it's just think of it as improving yourself.
Better yourself.
I wanted to chime in to say to what she says, I do believe the American dream is possible. All of our dreams are not going to be the same. They're not going to be the same. I believe that it is possible. I completely agree with what Candy was saying, that it's your own internal will. Whatever you want to do, you can do. I always compare it to athletes. A lot of athletes, they'll go in and they work 20 hours a day. Some of them, they're working hard for that physique, for that, to be the best. So they're putting in the work to do it. And they're putting in because they have a goal in mind. They said that this is what I'm going to achieve. So I think when that's inside of you, internally, if whatever you want to achieve, and if you're going to work towards it, I believe that it is possible. I believe that it's possible. So I have to agree with what she said. It's if you put in the time, if you say that I'm going to get the mentor, this is what I want to do, this is what I'm willing to do it, then that's what I'm going to do. A lot of us don't want to, we're not going to put in that kind of work. It's like, I know I'm not going to go 12 or 15 hours to work out. So I'll never be that top athlete.
Right.
Because I know that, that's
maybe
not
11 and a half. Because she do work out a lot.
So, I know, but there's other things that I know that I want to accomplish, and I am willing, so I think that it's what's inside of you. And that's that internal drive. So it is possible. I believe too, it is possible for you to achieve your dream,
Okay. You mentioned obstacles. What do you think are some of the obstacles that hold somebody back?
Anything like obstacles can be, first of all, internal. It could be like trying to go around, like, how am I going to get this business loan? How am I going to get this credit card? Or what about my finances? And then that fear of taking money. And that's my biggest thing, that fear of taking money and losing it, and trying to change your mindset of like money should not be thought of like something that I have to hold on to. It should be thought of like an investment I should be able to put in and get out. So it's like internal obstacles. And then it could be like limitations of it could be racial limitations. It could be limitations based on your current finances. It can be lack of time. Just a lot of different obstacles. Like I said, internal and external obstacles.
There's a misconception about some Africans think a lot of Americans, if not all, they're wealthy.
Yes. That is true. They do think that like just money. And I think because we have a system that we can go to credit cards and outside sources, and we can pretty much get what we want, pay a little bit at a time. But that doesn't really translate like here to wealth. It's just that I can get what I want just in cross, but debt. Exactly. It's a debt. It's just debt. It's just that it's harder to come by money.
I was trying to make sure you don't talk about that, but you are pushing the point of Africans think y'all are just got money just because of debt. So y'all are living in debt. Y'all are not living in your own money. Most
Americans are living in debt,
and that's the way our system works. It's so weird because when I was going out to purchase a house, I wanted to purchase a house, and they talked about debt to credit ratio, things of that nature. That you have to acquire, you have to have some debt. You have to have a credit card. And I was like, so you want me to? She said, yeah. We want to see your history, how you've paid on
your credit cards,
your credit cards of that nature. So our system is that's how the engine moves. It's like you have to have that debt to have anything. They want to that's part of our system, where in other cultures you're saving and all of that. So we're expected to have a healthy amount of debt. And they want to see how we've been paying on that debt and how we've been paying on the credit card. The first advice my banker gave to me, she said, go out and get a credit card. I want you to open up a credit card and I want you to make a big purchase. And I was like, and she said, and I want you to.
Seems like a bad advice.
I know.
But that's how you build your credit.
That's how you build your credit. She said, that is how
I understand, but it's a bad example if you give somebody new.
Yes.
They'll max out on it and they will not pay back.
And she told me, and she said, I want you to pay on that credit card and I want you to build that credit history. And she said, I want you to do that. And I want you to, all the small debt, pay down, but I want you to continue to build this credit card. And she said, therefore, you have a history. You have a history of paying on something big.
Yeah.
So it's sort of how our American dream works. It's like,
yeah, it is.
It's how it's set up.
Because who's going to have $200,000 to just to buy a house? Like, you got to get that, or, whatever it's costing, just to give if somebody dump me in America and say pay cash for everything, it's going to take a lot longer to like accumulate.
You know what's funny? That's what I used to do for 2 years. I used to pay everything in cash.
And you have to continue.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. And the funny thing is, I was going to say Africa, but I don't know about other countries in Africa. But me being in Kenya, you don't get no credit cards. You don't get it's whatever money you got that's gonna buy you what you want.
Yep. And that's why y'all be thinking we rich.
Exactly.
Y'all be thinking we rich because I'm like, nah, I'm not just waking up paying, X amount for something. Like, go out, I'm gonna give me a $60,000 card. I'm gonna just throw you 60.
and another thing is, it's like, our system is built that way. It's like, even when you want to send your kids to college, you're mortgaging your home. Yeah. You're not paying cash for that. You're mortgaging. You're making those big purchases off of what you already have.
Yeah.
So our system is set up. And so when people say, like, wow, they're getting all of this stuff, but this is how our system is set up. We don't have to go out and pay, like you said, $200,000. We can pay a portion of that. And then we can borrow off of our homes. We can do those types of things to send our kids to college. So that's kind of how it operates.
And then you pay the big man the interest.
Wait, hold on. Speaking of, how much is the interest in the houses actually?
Now, I don't know how much it is now. My interest was real low. It's real low. But I don't know how much it is now and how much it goes up to now.
Yeah. So they're not worth it. They just got credit.
That's right. Yes. Let them know. Yeah. Come over here. You're gonna be paying.
All right. Another misconception is about Americans being materialistic.
It's true. We are. I mean, we are. We're materialistic. Like, it's no, and I'm speaking as a whole, generalizing. I don't think every single person is materialistic, but I mean, when those things are put in your face and it's through the music and through the, TV, it's just and not just the hip hop, but just period. It's like, but hip hop culture is real big on that. You're right. Like, really big on that, hopefully we start to kind of get away from those things. Like,
do you think it's going to happen?
No, I personally don't, because our system is a capitalism.
Yeah.
We are a capitalistic system. So we market. Right. That's how we make our money. I'm selling you something. I'm selling you, even with the entertainment, I'm selling you my beauty. I'm selling you my body. I'm selling you this. I'm selling you. And in that, like you have the Louis Vuitton and all of that is, I'm selling something. I'm selling a product. So I think that our system is that way.
So it builds the pressure for everybody.
Yeah. You don't feel like you're successful. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you don't belong.
Right.
Or like, even when you're looking at a commercial, as much time as we sell the top. This is the top Downy, fabric softener or whatever. For that, of the freshness, it's a market. It's a process of marketing, and we're selling. So it's hard for us to kind of evolve and get away from that, because that is what our system is built on. It's built on capital, making as much capital as you can. How do you do that? You market.
True.
You market a product, you market yourself, you market whatever you're marketing.
Yeah.
So I don't think that we're
and of course people won't look at you as successful. Like, you got a 2,000 square foot home and 10 people living here, and you driving this car and barely making, like, even though you are making a living, you making an honest living, you're surviving, you know, people want to feel like, oh, I'm successful or I'm living the American dream, whatever that is nowadays. But, you know, people, it's just the pressure of, you know, how we're socialized, what we're taught, what we're feeling is success, you know, like some people and like some cultures may feel like you having you know, a certain family structure is that's successful. If I'm a woman and I'm single, I'm not successful, you know. So it's going to be those pressures going to be put on you, you know. Yeah, you're going to have some outliers or some people who like, well, you know, no, I'm good. I'm not going to, you know, get that. And I'm fine with this and stuff. And so, you know, it's just redefining what success is, you know, if you know, what is success to you? And I always say that that's my thing is, what is success to you? Just because success to some person is A, B, and C does not mean success to you should be those things. Determined by those things. I think that what makes your life better? What makes your life easier? What makes your life, you know, more enriched? Fulfilled, you know, and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I would chime in with Candace. We grew up sort of in a Christian atmosphere. So we had, you know, we're a culture within the big culture. Yeah. So a lot of our concepts stem from that. It stemmed from our values, what our parents instilled in us as Christians. Yeah. So it was our values. So coming into a bigger culture, that wasn't as important to, I would say, to us about the wealth, but it's still, like you said, it's still socialized very heavily in the mainstream culture of what, you know, you're not living unless you drive this, or you're not successful unless you're doing that. So a lot of people subscribe to that. So they're looking for that type of validation. Oh, I have to be driving this car. I have to have this type of thing. And then I know that I'm successful. When I first even start working, I would see people in poverty, but you didn't know they were in poverty because they were wearing the most name brand shoes. They were wearing they were all decked out, that nothing, you know, I would hear kids say nothing touched my feet but Nike, you know, nothing, you know, Jordans, that's it, you know, so that was very important to them, to the appearance, which is nothing wrong with that, you know, because people have those, like Candace saying, those things that fulfill them, that make them feel worthy, successful. Everybody has that. So, but that was the concept of it was being pushed. So it looked, you know, because I was like, goodness, your shoes cost more than my purse or whatever, you know. I would see, but you know, those were the things that were important, you know, and that's, you know, among mainstream culture.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, and that type of attitude even come from having a lack. You know, saying that I don't have these things, I can't obtain these things. And so you try to go and get the things to prove that you can. To prove that you obtain. And I see that not just in America, like in other countries, you know, poor countries too. They'll wear the brand of something that they, you know, it's like I can't, you know, don't have access. So it makes them feel more important to have certain things or certain, you know.
Yeah.
It brings a sense of satisfaction, I guess.
Yes.
Or like you said, or assimilation, you know, a part of that culture.
Yeah.
This is what the culture is doing. So I feel more respected or accepted if I'm participating in these things as well. So
it's true.
You know.
Yeah.
I see. All right. What about the misconception of Africans living in the jungle or the rural areas, or Africa being known as a one big safari?
I have a story.
Hence the saying, Africans be fighting lions and tigers.
Right. Yes, I have a story about that. I'm telling you, and this is a true story. When I was, you know, and like I said, everything's changing now, but when I was a little girl, I used to see the Feed the Children.
Yeah.
You would see the Feed the Children and flies everywhere, and you were like, Mom, you know, this is Africa. Look at those poor people. Poor people. You know, what's going on? Why, you know? And so I used to think that that's all of Africa. All of Africa is poor, and there's people with flies everywhere and gnats all over. You know, and you know, you have to give money, you know what I'm saying? Because but But that's part of marketing, American marketing.
Sure.
It's like, we're giving our money because we're saying, oh, we got to feed those people in Africa. We got to feed those poor children in Africa. But I learned even that's a marketing concept, because even at that time, all Africa wasn't like that. That was a small part that you were being shown, for a specific purpose. So at that time, that's what my concept was Africa. Or I would watch like you said, the wild safari where they're going off into the explorers, some guys going off into the jungles of Africa and fighting the tigers, and they got their cameras down low and they're looking. So you're looking like, oh my God. So you're thinking that this is no.
That's the lifestyle.
But we can thank our American nation for that. American culture, because that's when you're thinking the great safari hunt. They're down and with their cameras looking for lions and tigers. So I at that time, I assumed that most Africans were that was Africa.
That was the livelihood.
And that happened to us bad, like in the 80s and 90s. Like they were really showing us in one particular light. And I don't think it's nothing wrong with like a person being themselves and talking a certain way, being a certain way, but that's not all. That's not all. So I think that we just blame media, and that's the positive thing about social media is that we can see that there's different people can put their own personal stuff out and show that this is not it. This is not, whereas instead of where media where it's controlled, this is just showing one side. So a lot of our stereotypes come from just what we see in the media,
what we see.
I think that relates to what we used to see back in the day too, back in Africa. We used to have those stories of Americans crying they poor, but if we see the TV, y'all got fancy houses and everything, still y'all crying you poor. Hell no, you're not poor. You're not poor. Somebody says, like, let's say in St. Louis, you got much better houses. Then somebody says, I'm from the ghetto. Stop playing. You're not from the ghetto. You live in a better house than we do. If you come to the ghetto back in Africa, that's something what you. So I think the things we used to see on TV, were like, they just playing with us because that's not the ghetto. If they come to the ghetto, it's something totally different. But having lived over here, now I come to understand it. So
it's a standard. It's a standard of living. Because I was watching, I can't think of the movie where the little girl, she was in Africa and she was a famous chess player. She was, and the mother used to go from place to place. Like they lived like they stayed in like an old church or something. It was raining. They were looking for a place to stay. All she wanted is a house. And the end of the movie, how it ended, is like they ended up able to afford and get a house. And they felt like that was successful. And that was, that was successful. But when you think here, it's how you socialize. So let's say if I'm living in an area where, everybody got, Chevys or whatever. And then I got my BMW and stuff. I feel like I'm look at me, but then I get to a area with higher income and everybody is riding Bentleys, and then now my little BMW. So now you're starting to compete with that person. And so it's like it never stops. Then you go up to another, whatever, you're not with the doctors and lawyers, now you're with the millionaires, and so now you're competing. You're feeling like I have to assimilate with that particular group, because it's just
it's what they say, there's always somebody better than you,
right? And so you got to be self-sufficient inside. You got to feel that sufficiency and validation within. And I'm big on that, like instead of feeling like you competing with somebody else. And I also feel like that you got to do, like we were saying earlier, what pleases and motivates you. Like I like fashion. And I remember I had a boss and I was making a joke to my friend. I was like, I'm about me buying something. And my boss was like, he was a white male. He was like, why wouldn't you spend that money on a maid? Like he was thinking it's a waste of money. Well, that's not what improved my life. I can clean my own house. And matter of fact, I like cleaning my own house. You know what I'm saying? But what is going to enhance your life? Because some people may talk about people spending a lot of money on cars, which you may be excited, because when you are happy, like when you are excited, when you're happy, and things can't make you happy forever.
No, yeah.
But when you are doing things that are pleasing to you, you know, when you think about the chemicals that are releasing in your brain, you actually can live longer. But if I'm doing something that is good for somebody else, you know what I'm saying, then it's not
satisfaction.
Yeah, it's not satisfaction. It's like, you know, somebody may like nice cars, but then you may want to spend your money on a golf resort, or this person may want to spend their money on travel. So I don't think people should criticize a person, you know, yeah, let's do things not frivolously, but you know, you shouldn't criticize what improves somebody this person. Yeah, what improves their person. So it kind of just redefines what is success. What is success to you? What is being successful to you? Me, may be a housewife. Somebody else, it may be a corporate America, or, you know, rising as high as I can in corporate America. Yeah. Another person, entrepreneurship, etc. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's nice. I feel some type of way saying this, but how about the thing about Americans being obsessed with fast foods?
I do believe, yeah, that was true. I think we're pulling away from that. I say that because there were so many documentaries done on that, you know, and you know about how much Americans consume fast food.
And we also got to look at historically. Women were in the homes.
Yeah,
they were cooking. When women got into the workforce, cut down the time. So then TV dinners got introduced into it. Then we got fast food. So now to me, it's about strategy. Sometimes you got to cook and freeze the food, and maybe, you know, because realistically, most people are working like 2 jobs. You know, realistically, you just don't have the time. So it's not like a person is saying like, oh, I want fast food. It's just that it was just realistic for me to come home after working, you know, 7 to 3:30, got to get the kids together, got to do this, and then turn around and I got to cook all night. And if you want to cook some, you know, you cooking,
it takes
it's going to take some time.
And 2 hours, 3 hours.
Yeah. So that actually was introduced, like TV dinners during that time when women were actually getting into the workforce, you know, and more women. And so even when women get into the workforce, the economy, what happens? So it forces, like now it has to be 2 people to work. I mean, not every single situation, but when it boosts the economy, guess what happens? Women have to, other women have to go into the workforce because so it's just like, we got to think about historically what is going on, what's happening. And so I think that's where a disconnect comes from. A lot of times we judge mental of things and we don't realize the history and what's pushing this type of thing and what's happening around us.
Yeah, she made a good point. The culture shift.
Yeah,
you know, you had women that were in the home, and so now that became the prominent way of getting food. You know, you go, you get off work, you go to another job, your kids have to eat, so you pick up something, you know.
Yeah.
So that culture shift
it cuts down.
Yeah. And we didn't know when it first happened, we didn't know how unhealthy fast food was.
Absolutely.
We did not know, like, all the preservatives
to save time.
Yeah, it was just a convenience. We thought we were getting like cooking a burger at home ain't the same as getting the fast food burger. Right. And we didn't know that back in, like, you know, when it first was getting popping. Now we know. Now we're starting to understand, wait a minute, this burger lasts a year. You know what I'm saying? Like the amount of preservatives in this burger, you know, so now we are knowing, and I think that's important. Now that we're getting educated that, wait a minute, this stuff isn't good. People are trying to find ways, like they got fresh, HelloFresh, and different ways of getting healthier foods, you know. And to be honest, the food here, even the healthier foods, not always all that healthy. You know, a lot of the stuff is hidden things in it, and you have to look at numbers on the fruit to see if how the fruit is growing. And
actually, it's not that fresh, because what I heard is there was a Walmart employee being questioned. Then he said, when they go to the aisles, They take the fruits out, and then they take them to the back. They only take out the rotten ones. Then the fresh ones, they put them in the new tub. Then they put
yeah. Oh, that's a lot of tricks that they do. And then like even the fruits, some of the is genetically engineered and all modified and stuff like that. So even the healthier things, we don't know what we're doing. Then you think about planting in the ground. Some areas, the ground is contaminated. True. So it's we're trying, and I believe that all you can do is just do the best that you can, do the best you can, and try to, and there's actually chemists that put together a perfect formula to make the chips and stuff addictive. Yeah. And, so like people are working to make the food addictive so you can want to desire to eat it every time. Yeah. When I went to Gambia, I didn't I got full real fast. Like I found that I was getting full. Like the food was like, it wasn't like this craving that I was having. Like I would eat a small meal. Then, and my sweetheart would be like, oh, that's all you eat? And I was like, yeah, I was, so it was just, yeah.
yeah. You don't need a lot of food to get full. Yeah.
Right.
Wow. That was a good session we had.
Yeah.
We discussed a lot for sure. And for everybody watching, let us know your input. Let us know what we did. We did mention wrong. The things we said wrong, correct us in the comment section. Let us know so next time we can correct them. And with all that being said, it was nice seeing you and having you on this show. Thank you. Until next time.